OK, well, here with me now to discuss the latest developments in Ukraine, Ed Arnold, a former British Army officer and a research fellow for European security at the Royal United Services Institute. Ed, hello again. So what's currently happening in Kharkiv and in the surrounding areas there, and how is that affecting Donbas?
Yeah, so in terms of Kharkiv, I mean, the battle is effectively over and Ukraine has won, and it's further evidence that the Russian military really are going to struggle to take any of the large population centres. It's the second largest city. And what Ukrainian forces have been able to do is put in a very effective counterattack, which has pushed Ukrainian field artillery out of range of the city, but also actually pushed Russian forces back to the border, as you can see in the yellow hashed area at the top of the screen. And that's going to cause significant issues for an already challenging offensive for Russia within the Donbas. From a Russian perspective, UK defence intelligence overnight estimated that 1/3 of their ground forces have now been destroyed or is combat ineffective within Ukraine itself. That's significant due to the fact that it's heavy losses, but also Russia will really struggle to replenish those forces, both in terms of people, because that's politically very difficult for President Putin. He needs to mobilise, but also they're just running low on armoured vehicles, tanks, and especially ammunition as well. So the main effort, as assessed, is still from Belgorod in the north to Izium. That is the main axis of advance, and that is really the arterial route where Russian forces are resupplying the offensive down to the south. What's actually having to happen at the moment is Russian forces are switching from the offensive to the defensive because they need to protect that line. So Ukraine have a couple of options. The first option, which is the safest option, is to put a ring of steel around Kharkiv and make sure that it is protected. It's still close to the Russian border and still vulnerable. Secondly, they might redeploy forces south to join the counteroffensive in Izium, which we are expecting to start proper in the next couple of days. And their high-risk, high-reward strategy is really to actually press east and really try and disrupt and basically dislocate that line of communication, which will really put real pressure on the Russians here. And the Russian objective was still to capture the whole of Donbas, but because of the way that this war has been prosecuted at this point, it's probably going to be a smaller area around Severodonetsk, which they're able to capture.
Oh, OK, so what's happening in the south and the west of the country?
Yeah, so also in the south, I mean, one of the objectives is for Russia to control the whole coast and access to the Black Sea. And really critically, what we're seeing in Kherson almost mirrors what's happening in the east. At the moment, we know that there is a Russian intent to move from Kherson west all the way over to Moldova and the strip of land on the east, which is Transnistria. And then it essentially links Russia in the east all the way to Transnistria. That's 330 kilometres. And at the moment, on the Izium offensive, their main effort, they're only moving about 3K a day in their best areas. So that's quite a difficult proposition militarily. And the Ukrainians are putting in very effective counter-attacks south of Mykolaiv, which is stopping that advance. And then politically, also in Kherson, it's an area that Russia wants to hold a referendum to join the Russian Federation. They were trying to do it last month, and now Ukrainian intelligence suggests that they've had to push back those plans until September. So it's a real area which we're all focusing on Kherson, because that's ultimately going to be the test case of whether they can turn military objectives in terms of holding the ground into political objectives, which is the control of the ground.
OK, fascinating, Ed. Thank you very much.